After a long battle with prostate cancer, Anglican Archbishop Desmond Tutu, South Africa's Nobel Peace Prize-winning activist for racial justice and LGBT rights and retired Anglican Archbishop of Cape Town, died December 26, 2021. He was 90 years old. He is best recognized for his work as an anti-apartheid and human rights activist. He was Bishop of Johannesburg from 1985 to 1986 and then Archbishop of Cape Town from 1986 to 1996. In both instances, Tutu was the first black African to hold the position. He rose to prominence as one of the most fierce opponents of South Africa's apartheid system of racial segregation and white minority rule. As a peace-loving activist, he stressed non-violent protest and foreign economic pressure to bring about the universal right to vote for all adult citizens, regardless of wealth, income, gender, social status, race, ethnicity, political stance, or any other restriction. Desmond Tutu emphasized a consensus-building model of leadership and oversaw the introduction of female priests. Consensus-style leaders are seen as mediators or peacekeepers, seeking a calm, cooperative environment. To keep the peace, consensus-style leaders give people equal consideration by seeking their input and concerns. They welcome all ideas and suggestions so the team can come to an agreement and keep the majority happy. In 1990, after 27 years in prison for being found guilty of conspiracy and sabotage to overthrow the government of South Africa, Mandela and Tutu met for the first time in 35 years at Cape Town City Hall, where Mandela spoke to the assembled crowds from the balcony. Tutu invited Mandela to attend an Anglican Synod of Bishops in February 1990, at which Mandela described Tutu as the People's Archbishop. Upon becoming president in 1994, Nelson Mandela appointed Tutu to be chairman of the country's Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which uncovered the abuses and atrocities of both pro- and anti-apartheid groups. Following apartheid's dismantling, Tutu campaigned for gay rights and spoke out on a variety of topics. Among those topics were his support of Palestinians in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and his opposition to the Iraq War. Even though he grew disappointed with the African National Congress, the anti-apartheid movement that became the ruling party after the 1994 election, Tutu said South Africa was a rainbow nation of promise for racial reconciliation and equality. Tutu criticized the new ruling elite of the African National Congress for boarding the gravy train of privilege and rebuked Mandela for his long public affair with Graca Machel, whom he eventually married. In his Truth Commission report, Tutu refused to treat the wrongdoing of the ANC in the fight against white rule any more mildly than those of the apartheid government. Tutu never stopped following his moral compass. In December 2003, he lashed out against his government for its support for Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe, despite rising criticism over his human rights record. Tutu drew a parallel between Zimbabwe's isolation and South Africa's battle against apartheid. Tutu gained a popular following in the US, where he was often compared to Martin Luther King Jr., although white conservatives like Pat Buchanan and Jerry Falwell blasted him as an supposed communist sympathizer. Tutu infuriated much of South Africa's press and white minority, especially conservative whites who benefited from and supported apartheid. While on the other hand, Tutu angered some black South Africans by speaking against the torture and killing of suspected collaborators of the apartheid regime. Black militants saw Tutu's calls for non-violence as an obstacle to revolution. Pro-government media like The Citizen and the South African Broadcasting Corporation repeatedly focused on how Tutu's middle-class lifestyle contrasted with the poverty of the blacks he claimed to represent. He got hate mail and death threats from white far-right groups like the Wit Walway. Tutu's angry anti-government rhetoric alienated many white liberals, who believed that apartheid should be gradually reformed away. Among the white liberals who publicly criticized Tutu were Alan Paton and Bill Burnett. In 1984, Tutu took a 3-month sabbatical at the General Theological Seminary of the Episcopal Church in New York. While in the United States, he was invited to the White House, where he unsuccessfully urged President Ronald Reagan to change his approach to South Africa. Tutu was bothered by Reagan's relationship with South Africa's government, which he felt was far more comfortable than Reagan's predecessor Jimmy Carter. Desmond Tutu described Reagan's government as an unmitigated disaster for blacks. In New York City, Tutu learned that he had won the 1984 Nobel Peace Prize. He had previously been nominated in 1981, 1982, and 1983. Under bomb threat, Tutu attended the award ceremony in Oslo and shared the $192,000 prize money with his family, SACC staff, and a scholarship fund for South Africans in exile. He was the second South African to receive the award, after Albert Luthuli in 1960. South Africa's government and mainstream media either downplayed or criticized the award, while the Organisation of African Unity hailed it as evidence of apartheid's impending demise. This video doesn't even scratch the surface of Desmond Tutu's lifelong struggle against inequality. This video only serves as an introduction to those who may not be familiar with Tutu's tireless quest for freedom and equality. I invite you to take it upon yourself to deep dive into the life of Desmond Tutu. Whether you agree or disagree with what is being said, I will leave you with a quote that pretty much sums up Desmond Tutu's life's work and philosophy: "I have no hope of real change from this government unless they are forced. We face a catastrophe in this land and only the action of the international community by applying pressure can save us. Our children are dying. Our land is bleeding and burning, and so I call the international community to apply punitive sanctions against this government to help us establish a new South Africa, non-racial, democratic, participatory and just. This is a non-violent strategy to help us do so. There is a great deal of goodwill still in our country between the races. Let us not be so wanton in destroying it. We can live together as one people, one family, black and white together." Desmond Tutu, 1985. This has been another installment of Amazing Black History. Have a great day or night.